I'm responsible for BPM, rules, events, application servers, API management, DevOps, IT monitoring, and so forth. So disruption, digitization, we've heard those already. We haven't talked a lot about cognitive and analytics, and we're going to power it by the cloud. This crowd knows this is opportunity. And so when we get to the hybrid cloud, we want to be able to reimagine our business processes, and we want to start thinking provocatively about processes that maybe can improve themselves without even going through structural changes. So underpinning what we talk about is the IBM hybrid cloud principles: choice with consistency, hybrid integration, DevOps, but notice cognitive and analytics over there on the right. So when you start with cloud, we have 3 entry points. We talk about creating new applications, new business value in the cloud. But quickly, we realize that part of what we're doing there with a new system of engagement means we need to connect, and we need to connect to those existing assets. Sometimes we also push things from our enterprise out to the cloud, or call the other way. So we have 2-way arrows there. And then finally, we want to be able to optimize, because optimize is about running the workload in the right place, removing barriers to getting business value out there, whether that's lift and shift to the cloud, or new native on the cloud, or virtualization on premise, whatever it is. We also can think about this as multi-speed, or we called it 2-speed IT, where the systems of record run at steady speed, we don't say slow, and the new things run at fast speed. And so we're going to show how that kind of comes together. And the first way to do that is to talk about these new applications. So this is a new application built in the cloud, connected through APIs to on-premise assets. We picked the BPM process in this case. The other side of this matches more what the demo is going to be, where we take an existing process, we augment it with services through APIs that are in the cloud. So that pattern we need to dig deeper into. But this is all underpinned by APIs. And so IBM has an API strategy called API Connect. We have the strong loop acquisition that we added to our existing capabilities, so we can do create, run, secure, and manage. Now we have lots of APIs. We have cognitive APIs of many kinds. We picked a couple just to start showing the possibilities. But the possibilities are really limitless at this point. We also have some APIs under the blockchain banner, and we heard blockchain mentioned earlier this week, and this offers some great new opportunities to mix with the cognitive and other APIs. So keep that on your radar as well. In BPM in particular, we've also gotten our API story evolved. So we've got some Swagger described APIs that really maybe look like they were built for use by the system of engagement programmers. There's more than APIs. We've got all these cloud services, and so underneath of some of these APIs, you need more services. We're going to use some of the ones in yellow as we do our demo today. Okay? In addition to those APIs, one of the services that we think about is analytics. And so we're going to use Spark, and we're going to use some Spark capabilities and take in events from BPM, and you'll see we'll do some interesting prediction. All of this is free to get started with. Okay? Bluemix is free to get on and get going with, as well as, I just picked one of them here, the Alchemy API, free. Now obviously there's pay plans later on. So, cloud's the fabric. It really is hard for me to see the limits of what can be done. There's so much. And folks that are represented here who know about process and rules and business value are all set to do this. So our demo is going to use a couple of processes. It's going to use a routing process that uses a couple of Watson APIs, and then it's going to use kind of a claim processing type of process, and that's where we're going to use Spark and analytics. It'll all run on IBM BPM on cloud, our latest version, which is 8.5.7. And again, kind of a easy to get started, try it for free kind of idea. Okay? So that's the intro, and poof, there comes the demo. Perfect? And so the process that I've got up here is the routing process. And I don't know if the green comes through very well, but it's not a very complicated process. And I've never been accused of knowing anything about claims processing, so it's much easier to make up stuff when you don't know the domain. But basically, we've got a couple 3 swim lanes, and I can kind of make that get bigger here. And we're going to actually upload an image, and then we're going to figure out if we can recognize that image with a Watson service. And if we can, then we're going to keep going on the green path, which I kind of call the fast path. Okay? If not, we're going to see how the process continues, but we're also going to find that we have an opportunity to teach Watson so that the next time through, maybe, we can know that image. And so it's sort of a process built to sort of self-improve at some ways. And then at the bottom, we've got, we're either going to do trucks or cars or other. And so in our fabricated world, we process claims for those 3 somewhat differently, okay? And again, we get to make up the story, okay? So this is actually our web-based process designer, which is in our 8.5.7 release. But to get this going, we're going to start with the portal. And so given the number of pixels I have, this portal, in its responsive thinking, decided it wasn't going to actually show us what's over here on the left, which is what we actually need. So we'll pop that out. And to get this started, we need to start one of these claims. And again, I've fabricated this process a little bit to show you what's going on. Maybe this is where a consumer would participate in the process, and they'd send in the picture that would kick it off, okay? But for purposes of this, we're going to just use this new instance that got created. And so we see we've got our new instance there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run this step. And again, this could happen in an automated way, but I kind of want you to see a little bit under the hood as to what's going on, right? And so as that coach loads, thank you, we're going to go and add a local document. And we're going to go here. And you'll see I've got a variety of cute looking vehicles here. We're going to pick that red one. And we'll just call it Demo Wednesday Car. That's just a label. There's no cheating going on. I could have called it Fred. Okay. And it's now going to upload that. And so, again, under the covers, we would immediately go into visual classification. I'm going to press OK. There's a little warning there that I put in to remind myself it might take a little while to do this classification, but look at that. Pacific time pays off. Doesn't work so fast in the middle of the day. It's been off to Watson, and we've got some return values. Now, I did want to show you that the car is in there, so we can actually see that, okay? And that uses the built-in CMIS support that allows us to attach documents to a process instance, okay? And this is a responsive coach from our responsive toolkit, and there's a lot of things within IBM BPM I'm using along the way, and I'll kind of point those out as we go through the story. But let's see what we got back here, okay? And we have to sort on value. And look at the car's classification. It has 95% confidence that we've got ourselves a car. And in fact, it's got 92% confidence that it's a sedan. So we almost have 2 winners. So that may not be perfect, right? Now, if you saw what I had at the bottom here, I had another one. If I sort back the other way, you'll see that I had one called car. Now that was built into the Watson visual recognition service, and we played with that a little bit, and that was good to kind of get us thinking, but we had to create our own classifier. So we called it cars. We probably should have called it, Ryan and Eric's car classifier or something, but we had to, feed it a set of positive and negative images. And we'll take a look at that in a bit. But for now, we're going to let the process continue. We've taken our peek under the hood. The algorithm is set to anything over 90%. So what's going to happen when I press OK is we're actually going to go off to a service called the Alchemy Taxonomy service. And it's going to take that sedan and car and kind of organize that text. And it'll figure out that, oh, a sedan is a type of car. OK, so we're good. We don't have ambiguity. We can pretty much go start the car process. And look, it's done that. So we've got ourselves an instance of the car process. And we're going to go ahead and put on the role of the approver or the adjuster now. So switch hats. And up comes my next piece of work that we need to do. And again, we'll see that it has filled in some customer information. It's still got that image attached to the instance. So that's over here for us to look at. Okay. And then I'm going to preview this thing called prediction, but we're going to come back and dig into that a bit later on. For now, we'll just take the hint that we probably should approve this claim because I don't have time to do a full evaluation because we're doing a demo, right? So let's get back over here to the end. And we're just going to go ahead and approve this thing, okay? So we've now, with minimal human intervention, recognized the vehicle, routed it to the right process that pertains to the type of vehicle it is, and we're through to the end, okay? Now, you can certainly imagine that vehicle isn't that valuable, but again, we're going to talk about training here when we take the next pass through. Now, we did use this Alchemy API. This is a text rank API. I'm just showing you some of the API definition here. You know, you make a REST call and you feed it your text content, and you know, you get back information that you kind of parse out, and you know, we've got code that does that, and you know, didn't take us long to learn how to use that service. Okay, the visual recognition service, we actually use the classify post, and this one happens to have Swagger associated with it. So if you're familiar with Swagger, that's kind of the new way of documenting and looking at REST APIs, and a lot of these services come that way. And you can see if you look down here, you know, you basically pass it an image, and you know, there you go, right? There's the parameter. Okay, so we've made it through the process once, but any good process demo, you always process a couple of instances, right? And so we're gonna do another one. So let's use our background claim launcher here and get that thing going. But this time, we're going to take a different path through that process, and things aren't going to go quite as smoothly as they did the first time through. Okay, so we get that here, and we can see we get the upload image, and we'll let that come through. I did click, didn't I? Maybe not. Okay, here it comes. And so if folks have ever talked to me for too long, you all know that you know, I'm a farmer by DNA, and so I decided, well, let's see what Watson knows about tractors, right? Let's see. So here is our car. Okay, this did not work according to plan. Oh, I picked the wrong instance. Oh, see, you guys are paying attention. Okay, so let's go back to my work tab and pick the right one. Oh yeah, there's the new one right there. I left that one there. That was my pre-baked chicken, just in case, by the way. Have to have one of those. Okay, so it's still not happy. You always wonder what's going to go on when you do these demos. Okay, we received a new task. Okay, here we go. Now we can get our tractor in there. And we're going to take that tractor, some of those tractors they had much more megabytes in their bitmaps. So we learned it takes a little longer to process those ones that have lots of megabytes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call Watson, and we'll see if I can get the tractor up before Watson comes back. All right, I beat it that time. All right, and we come back here and we do the same little trick of sorting the results, and we see it doesn't really know what tractors are. So, you know, it has all kinds of relatively weak ideas. A bison, that's special, you know. So, you know, much as we like to think that Watson is magic, it's not. You have to train it. And so we say, okay, because again, this was me kind of showing you what's under the hood of this thing, okay? And when we get back here now, what's going to happen is we're going to go to a different step in the process. So we have what we call an indeterminate image, okay? And so let's go ahead and go through there. Now this would be a real human step. It's going to take longer, you know, in terms of minutes or hours to run through this thing because we've got to go through somebody else's work queue, okay? And again, we can look at that image probably, and we can call it other. And then you would think we would be off to the races. And we will be. We have a claim here that's called other, okay? But the more important thing is we have this step called review unknown images for classification. So let's give that one a shot and see what happens. So now we're going down a different path. And rather than just giving up and going to the other, we're going to start to understand, you know, have we got a lot of images that are starting to look like tractors? Do we need to kind of do some additional work here with our process models? And so there's the Wednesday Test 2 tractor. Where's the one that we just, what did I name that? Real tractor. There it is. Yeah, you guys are paying attention. It's perfect. Okay. Is it going to do it? What's it doing? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. And we can get the Watson properties back again. Now there's a reason why I do get properties again rather than keep them, because I haven't told you yet, but that Watson model, you know, that could be getting better. There could be other people making it better as time goes on. So we want the latest. And we look at this and we say, well, is this just a matter of, you know, feeding this picture in and to one of the existing classifications to maybe help it get closer to 90 and above, which was our arbitrary number? Well, no, we don't have anything we could tag it to, right? It's not there in name, and so we can't help an existing value. We're going to have to create a new classifier, okay? And so that takes us off into a different sub-process where you're going to feed in some different information. And we're not going to look at that, but we'll look at the API, and it's called classifiers. And what you're going to do there is there's positive examples and negative examples, right? And so we would feed it a bunch of tractors, and then we would feed it a bunch of things that kind of could almost look like tractors but aren't. So that, you know, we're not going to give it a picture of a, you know, of a coffee cup. We've got to have something that'll help Watson get smarter. Like a bison. Yeah, like a bison, right? Exactly. So that's what we would do down along that path, right? All right. So now let's go back and finish off that second instance and tell the final part of the story, okay? And I'll make sure I get everything covered here. Okay, and here we go. Okay, so again, we have more information, but let's look at this prediction. So this prediction is actually based on the customer's credit score, the estimate amount and the amount that we're being told we should approve for the claim. So we picked 3 pieces of data to try to build this predictive model. And we're actually using the Spark machine learning services to do that. And Spark is, one of these big data processors. It's kind of, in some ways, it's a follow-on to some of the early Hadoop stuff. It happens in memory and so forth. And so we're going to go ahead and take its advice again. And we're going to say approved and finish that one out. But then we're going to go back over here and review the Spark model just to show you what it's running. And right now it's running with one of these decision trees. We've had other versions of it where we've run with many trees. And so what you do is you take a bunch of claims that we've processed and the data, remember the credit score, the estimate amount, and the approved amount, and you basically create a model with part of the data, and then you use part of the data to test the model, and forward you go. But what's happening? This is a big company. We're running lots of claims. So we maybe have a different model now, because at least we've processed at least 2 claims since we started the demo. So if we generate a new model, and again, this goes off to a Spark service, and that light blue color tells us it's off doing its thing. And so now we've gotten another model back, and its accuracy went up a little bit, but even if it's a little more accurate, that's perhaps a good thing. And so you can see the decisioning that it's doing. You can see that it's changed the credit score from 626 to 627, and the approved amounts ever so slightly. And we had much more complicated versions in there of these where it had multiple trees, but we kind of settled with this one because it gives you the idea without kind of burying you in a bunch of data. So now one wonders if we keep going on that path, even though the process is kind of getting better without changing it, maybe we should have a claims process V2 queued up here, and I call that the cognitive one. Okay, and there it comes. And now we're a little pixel constrained here, but we can always zoom down to take the high-level view. And so what we've done now, if you see the yellow shaded area, is we've added that into the mainline claim processing process. And we've said, well, if there's enough confidence in the prediction, let's just use it and blow straight through, right? Notice it doesn't jump out of the system swim lane. We're doing straight through processing now. Obviously there'll be lots of discussion with the business people, but we can go have those discussions now. And then we take the rest and we send them up to our usual set of humans over here to do their thing, right? So that's kind of where the story ends. I think we've gotten through using the Watson services. Hopefully you can see the art of the possible. We've gotten through using some of this machine learning and analytics. And just think if we can add some more of these services do a better job with the visual stuff, get it very focused on our particular industry. We put the mobile enabling on the front and the GPS somebody was talking about earlier today, get the customer participating in the process. These are not the kinds of processes we were modeling and dealing with 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I mean, it's just changing, right? So that's it.